Greetings, programs, and welcome back to ArcNeo Reviews. So, does anyone remember way back in Primetime 1, we took a look at this very weird, Wallgreens stocking stuffer version of Optimus Prime? Well, back then they also made a Starscream and a Megatron in that same line. Now, there was also a Bumblebee. I don't have the Bumblebee. I don't feel like trying to find the Bumblebee. We're just going to look at these two guys. So, we're going to actually go ahead and start with Starscream. And yeah, I know I've complained about the Cyberverse Starscream jet modes. Suddenly those aren't looking too bad, are they? Just this horrible flattened out nose cone and cockpit, the already comically huge, robot boobs, just, his head is literally just hanging out there, and his arms, the arms aren't even pegged in. You're just hoping they stay there. So, yeah, we're off to a great start with this guy. So, the only points I can give it, there is a lot of nice, just random molded detail, and the Decepticon symbol isn't just painted, but it is actually molded and raised up. That's neat. There's also a super tiny one right there. That's just cute. Also very redundant, but it's there. You're gonna go ahead and transform this guy. Just go ahead, pop off the null rays using the tiniest pegs ever. I'm not even kidding. These are smaller than the pegs that they use on, the Legion class figures. So, go ahead, pop those out. Take the arms. Shift the shoulders up. Again, nothing's pegging or anything. You're just hoping they stay. Go ahead, take the nose cone. Flip it down and around. Come down in here, get a hold of the head, and just pull it up till it clicks. Then the wings are actually tabbed on to the back of the legs. So just go ahead, untab them, flip them up. That peg will go in there. It doesn't really do anything, but there's a slot for it to go into. And pull the legs apart. And there you've got this weird Wallgreens Starscream. So, go ahead, put the null rays on the end of his arms. And he's definitely better in robot mode. I will give him the robot mode points. He looks pretty decent. The flattened nose cone makes sense here. It's just at this point, because you already had to give up so much for the jet mode, skip the jet mode, just make him a new action master. So, posability-wise, he does actually have a rotatable head. It's very hard to get a hold of, but you can get down in there and spin it 360 degrees. Ball joint at the shoulder, so you've got in and out, rotation. You can use this if you want to shift his arm around. Ball joint at the elbow, so 90 degrees of bend. Again, more rotation. You do not have the option of putting the null rays in his hands like you would on most Starscream figures. It's just there, or the wings. That's your lot. So, he's also got a ball joint at the hips, forward, back, knee, outward. The knee is also a ball joint, so it's got rotation there. Just like the Optimus, this thing is stupidly simple, but there it is. And for what it is, and for as cheap as it was, it's not the worst thing ever. But if there's any kind of Legion class Starscream being sold at that time, clearly I would go with that over this. This one just ends up being kind of an oddity. get him out of the way, and go ahead and bring in Megatron. And this one's a interesting one. So, as you can see, the head is just completely hanging out off the back of the tank. The hands are incredibly obvious. And I'm not gonna lie, he's a little bit jank to transform. Like, I swear this thing needed like an extra, a couple days of engineering. But as you can see, he does have a molded in Decepticon badge right there. It's, I'm pretty sure they tried to paint it. Nothing on the other side. No wheels, actually. He's got, like, slots here where you'd think there'd be wheels. No. No wheels. So, if you want to do anything with this Megatron, it is a 100% imagination. So, transform this guy. You're going to come down here. I find it best to just wiggle this gun free as best you can at the start. You're gonna pull up on these to untab them from there. Let's see here. Okay, we're gonna start by just bringing the arms up and out like this. These things did not have directions, so I just kind of have to wing it when I mess with them. But bring up the arms, flip these pieces down, fold down the feet, which means, yes, he is actually walking on his Decepticon insignia. Quite disrespectful. Bring down the arms, and he's done. And I have to admit, the robot mode, this is probably the best of the robot modes of these guys. It looks the part. It is, decently posable. You can take the turret, plug it on his arm, give him his fusion cannon, like you'd expect. For posability, he does actually have a ball joint for his head, so he's got pretty good range of motion, as well as rotation, if you can get a hold of it. Though his shoulders and the bucket head do get in the way of that. One of the better Megatron face sculpts, though, even for this size. So, big points for that. Double ball joint for the shoulder, actually. So, you just get kind of a mess of range on it. Not a whole lot in the way of outward, though. Then he also has a ball joint at the elbow. Basically 90 degrees, maybe like 1 or 2 degrees past. And rotation. Ball joint at the hips, so he can kick forward. He can kick back. A little bit of rotation. He can do the splits. And then another ball joint at the knee, so he's got stupidly deep knee bend from the transformation. Rotation right there. And you can tilt the ankles outward if you want. But, so, definitely the best of them. I have to give him major props for all his molded detail and everything. But he is also incredibly flat and thin, which is not very becoming of Megatron. But if you look at him from the front, he looks cool. He looks pretty good standing beside Starscream, and I don't feel like transforming that terrible Optimus again. But yeah, overall, for a kid, they're fine. For just something funny to add to your collection, they're okay. But, definitely at the end of the day, if there's any kind of Legends class or Legion class figures, get those over these, for sure. So, thank you guys for watching. A quick reminder that, again, my Patreon is live, and next week we will be doing Primetime Part 2. So, I will see you next time.